Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together with our distribution partners, our branch CEOs, most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central. And it's important to keep this in mind. As a CEO of a branch office, you are running a business, and it should be a very profitable business. Maybe just a side gig for you, but it should be profitable. Any business that's not profitable is not sustainable. Today, what we're going to do is break down and look at the economic model. And if you'd like an editable version of this, it's just a little Excel spreadsheet, email us and we can send that to you in our email. So our website, of course, is chapmanloanprogram.org. The email address I can type in here is support@chapmanloanprogram.org. But you'll also see that on the website. So what's the goal today? The goal today is to clarify to each of you who are the CEOs, the presidents, the bosses of your branch office, how you're paid. And then also we're going to look at some different assumptions, some different variables that can be changed to look at different what-if scenarios. So we know that what you and I do, it's honorable, it's needed, it's legal, it's ethical. What do? We offer the startup program to help entrepreneurs have a fundable business, because it does not matter how badly you want or how badly you need funding. The business must be fundable. That's what we do, and we do it very well. And you are paid 4 times. 4 times. And it's important that you understand how you're paid. A lot of you are very successful. Some of you aren't. Some of you are broke. But regardless, you have an economic model here where you can get paid a lot of money ethically, legally, really, by helping people. So let's go through the economic model. If you have any questions, please type that into the Q&A box. It's question and answer box. It's kind of like a chat box of Zoom, and we'll get to that. So on a per client basis, when is the first time that you're paid? It's today. You are paid today, Alfredo. Annette, you're paid today. Bernard, Charles, David, Elliot, Eric, Erica. We have 622 today, a new record for attendance, which is awesome. All 620, now 623 of you should be paid today. There's an immense need for access to capital and an immense need for financial literacy, and that's what you and I do. Now, we're not going to cover that whole spectrum. You can learn a lot by going to the chapmanloanprogram.org and or visiting past trainings. But today, let's talk about the economics, and the first time that you're paid per client is today. It's $500 today. We don't have to wait for a week or 2 weeks or get paid monthly. You're paid today for your time. So $500, and that is what you're paid today. Now, you may say, well, that's not much money. Well, you're going to be paid 4 times, right? We're going to go through all 4 times, and I guess we can list that differently. So let's make this 1 and make this 2. To clarify, you're paid 4 times for each client. And what I want to do is explain why you're paid, when you're paid, how much you're paid, but also keep in mind, we're all doing this for the client's best interest. And we want to make sure that you understand the client's getting a great value out of this. So first time you're paid is when? Today. It's what Thomas Kearns, let me see if Thomas is on here. Sometimes he is, he's not this morning. But Thomas Kearns, I believe it was him, coined the phrase, today is payday. Every day is payday as a branch office. So let's make sure that today is payday for you. And that happens when a client enrolls in the startup program. So $500 gross income. All of these are gross numbers, gross income. We all know the difference between gross and net, right? Businesses have expenses. I don't think, unless you're a dog walker, every business has expenses. We're looking at gross income. So you make $500 today. Well, what's in it for the client? What does the client receive? Well, that's their enrollment in the startup program, and it provides a bunch of benefits, which really isn't the content for today's discussion. But essentially, it's their enrollment in the startup program. So the client is paying $500 to you today. It goes into your bank account today. When are you paid again? The second time. The second time that you should be paid is based upon the client's first tranche performance fee. What does that mean? We've covered this in a different training, but it takes 30 to 60 days to create a fundable business, to go through the 4 phases. And if you're not familiar with the 4 phases, there's a training video on Chapman Loan Program. So no, just because a client signs up, it's not going to be instantly that their business is fundable. That's too good to be true. That's unrealistic. But what is realistic is we can go ahead and start working on their first round of funding right away. So what we call their first tranche, the first round, what they qualify for in the beginning, not after all the work has been done, which is 4. So how much they get will vary. We can go down and look at our assumptions, which we'll cover in a minute. We're assuming 20,000, but we'll play with that. They could get more or less, but we'll play with these highlighted variables in a minute. But on average, you'll make an extra 4,000 in 1 week. Does that get rich quick? No. Is it like winning the lottery? No. Are you making more than this on a daily basis now? Hell, I don't know. But it's an extra side income. And so what's the client getting? They're getting funding, cash funding wired into their account for first tranche. You're getting a performance fee, which you're controlling what the performance fee is. We'll talk about that in a minute. And that's the second round of payment for you. Third round of payment for you is what we know is that the setup fee, the enrollment fee for the startup program is not just $500, right? It's more than that, but we allow them to pay a down payment and then they can pay the rest of it later. We have what's called sweet pay financing. I don't want to get too much in the weeds there, but the bottom line is sweet pay pays out in 30 days. So you're making another $2,250 in 30 days. And of course, the client's getting continued assistance with the 4 phases. That takes us to our 4th way that you get paid. It's the largest amount, but we have to wait a little bit for it because what we have to do is get the client fundable, right? We take them through the 4 phases. So again, based upon your performance fee that you're charging and how much we think the client's going to get, which again, we'll play with those assumptions in a moment, you'll make around an extra 20,000. So that's around day 60. What's the client receiving business funding? So if we add these up, this is a formula, right? So if you take these 4, you're going to make on average, let's just say 25 to 30,000 per client. So does that get rich quick? Absolutely not. But the good news is you shouldn't just have one client, right? We should be having multiple clients. So this is multiplied a number of times. So assuming, and again, we're going to change these assumptions and play with those in a minute. Assuming that you're enrolling 2 clients a week, 8 a month, which is really the minimal acceptable amount, your branch is looking at gross income of a little less than $250,000 a month. So not bad. Now, some people look at that and say, well, that's good. Yeah, for a side income, that's good. Some people will say, well, that's too good to be true because they've never ran a business that was profitable. But, talk to your local CPAs, talk to your local law firms, talk to your local engineering or architectural firms. Professionals make good money. And again, it's not all profit, that's gross income, but that's very much in line with what other professionals make. So these are the 4 categories of income, the projected amount that you'll make, and we're going to go down and play with the assumptions. This is when we think that you'll receive that. And then this was just a little add-on to make sure, the client's getting benefit throughout this, right? This isn't that the client's losing and you're gaining. So with that, let's go ahead and go down and play with the variables a little bit, and then I can get input from you on questions that you have, or we can play with the numbers and change the variables. But there are 4 key variables that determine how profitable your branch will be. And I'll work from the bottom up, because any business, whether you're a Domino's Pizza or a plumber or an accountant or a doctor, you have to have patients or clients, right? You have to have clients. And a business without clients makes no money. Let's go change this to 0. What's the outlook look then? Oh shit, we're going to make on average $0 because we have no income. We have no clients. We have to have clients. And we've spent time talking about, you can get leads. We can transfer you leads. We have client placement programs, which we talk about. There's no excuse to have 0. So the minimum really should be 8, because that's what you promised to deliver, and we can help you get at least 8. Now, many of you have a higher aspiration than 8. Many of you say, hey, I want to do a deal a day. So there's an average of 30 days in a month. So again, these assumptions all stay the same, because this is assuming how much we're making per client. The difference is now we're multiplying that amount based upon the expected volume. So we can play with those different numbers. Does anyone want me to put in a different number other than 30? I mean, we could say we're going to take weekends off and do 20 a month. Maybe you just want to do 3 a week and do 12 a week. I mean, so again, this number is stagnant. It's our consistent prediction. It's just how many of those do we expect to do? And again, not all the money comes in month 1. This is obviously in month 1. It's day 1. This is right around, it's probably going to be the beginning of month 2, quite frankly. So this would really be your first month income. This would be your month 2 income, and this is probably your month 3 income from the same client. And Mike's asking the spreadsheet. Yeah, just email us and we're happy to send you the spreadsheet so you can play with it. It looks like Greg is pointing out, I don't understand Greg's question as I read it. We'll come back to that. Greg, if you can restate that question, I'll come back to it. Okay, now let's look at these other variables, because you're impacting your income. The first of which is the performance fee. So as a branch office, you control what the clients pay as a performance fee. I was talking to Anthony Ellis, who is not on the training. He's a truck driver. He's one of our newest branches, and he's about ready to quit truck driving because, as he explained, truck driving's hard, right? He's away from home a lot. He's away from his family a lot. He has to drive and deal with traffic and weather, and he doesn't make near this type of money, right? As a truck driver, he's not making, and again, we can drop this down to the most minimum, he's not making $200,000 a month. So he's going to leave truck driving and instead do this full time. Now, I'm not suggesting any of you quit your full-time gigs. That's not the purpose, but it's good income. So what I was going to mention, though, before I digress, Anthony doesn't charge any performance fee. He's relatively new. He's enrolled several clients, but he doesn't charge any performance fee. And that's his option. That's your option. As the branch, as the CEO of your branch, you determine what the performance fee is. But you can see how that changed the income, right? His projected income per client, because what we said before was 19.99. So the average branch should be generating 26,000 per client, but you certainly could drop that down to what, 2750, which still isn't bad, right? And you remember, we're doing all the work. In the branch model, you're going out doing the financial literacy, the community outreach. We do all the work for you. So with that being said, this is the first, well, other than volume, which is obvious, this is the first key consideration that you need to make. This performance fee, again, reflects how much do your clients pay after they've received funding. So after they've received their first tranche. Now, we're assuming here that the first tranche is 20,000. Some people will get more, some will get less, and we could play with that. You know, we could say, Oh no, we only think that the average person will get 10,000. Or no, we think the average person will only get 5,000. Or the average person will get 50,000, right? We can change that around. Truth will be truth because, and we have a question Marilyn has about first tranche. So once you've enrolled, and this is not the training of how to enroll a client, but I guess let's cover that briefly, because if you don't know that, nothing else is going to happen. How do you enroll a client? First thing that you do is sign them up. So in other words, they sign your branch contract. So we provide you an editable version of the client agreement. You make whatever changes you want. Of course, you remove our information, add yours. Usually you'll set it up in DocuSign or Adobe, but you need a client to sign the contract. So they're contracting with you. We're behind the scenes. We're the vendor. We do the work for you, but the relationship is between you and the client. That allows you to make all the assumption changes into these assumptions we talked about. And then you'll also collect the setup fee from them. And frankly, that can be $500 or they can pay $2,500. If they pay $500, then what we're doing is we're financing the rest. We at 0%, we call that sweet pay financing. And that's why you're getting the rest of it later. Or you could go ahead and collect all of it now. And that's not really the purpose of this training, but this is essentially what you need to enroll a client. So normally, let's go back to this. Normally you will do this using DocuSign or Adobe, etc. Some kind of e-signature software is common. So you sign them up, you collect the setup fee, and then we implement. And we do all the work. If I could spell it. So you don't have to do any of the work, because you might say, well, I don't know how to do all these things. You don't need to know how to do all these things. As long as you can do 1 and 2, you can make this money because we do the rest of the work. So I think that answers Marilyn's question. And then Mike asked about landing pages. So you can create a landing page, but I don't know that you need a landing page, right? What you need is to have your client agreement in DocuSign or Adobe so they can sign it. And so you would normally send this to them via text or email, be on the phone with them when you send it to them, and walk them through it. And what we found is about 90% of the people that you do that will sign up. If you send it to them while you're on the phone with them and stay on the phone with them as they fill it out, that's what's key. All right, so let's go back to the assumption. So the first assumption we talked about is clients per month. That's pretty obvious. And again, there are so many leads. We can flood you with leads. So you cannot accurately say leads are your problem. Because, well, let's go over here. What's the sales flow? It's leads, it's conversions, it's clients. And, well, then it's implementation, but we do the implementation. So you're responsible to create the clients. That this is your responsibility. We'll make it green. But leads are easy to get. We've had several trainings. Leads will not be a problem. There's no problem getting leads. Getting leads meaning small business owners that want funding. Small business owners that want, so who is a lead? It's a small business owner. Now, maybe they own the business already, or they're just thinking about it. It doesn't matter. Age of business, doesn't matter about credit scores, but a small business owner who wants funding. I mean, that's who you're looking for. So we can show you how to get an infinite, that's a big number, but as many leads as you can possibly handle. That's not a problem. So if you think leads are your problem, let's visit, because it shouldn't be. Then convert. What does convert means? Convert mean? It means, see how do you enroll client. So essentially, how do you convert? It's this, right? So 2 is doing this. Then we have a client that is paying you, income source. But the implementation is all outsourced to us. We do all the work. Let's make this a little bit wider so it doesn't put. Okay, so let's go back to the different assumptions. First assumption was volume. We understand that. That's pretty easy. How many are enrolled per month? Performance fee you choose. It's based upon the contract that you create that they sign. And you could make it 0%. You could make it 6%. I was talking, was it Mike? Mike's on here, Mike Penna. And I think Mike said he's doing 7% for his. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want. Average first tranche, that's talking about this here. It'll vary, and I guess part of it will vary based upon where the clients are coming from, right? And I'll exaggerate, but if you go down to the Goodwill or the food pantry or the homeless shelter and enroll people, they're going to get less first tranche funding than normal people like you and I. So where you're getting your leads, I don't want to call them the quality of leads because I don't feel good about judging people that way, but first tranche financing is based upon their credibility as they come to us, whereby the business funding is based upon the credibility that we've created. That's what we do. So this is based upon them as they come in the door. So this amount will vary based upon how you're getting your leads. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, with this, you could change it around. You could be conservative and say the average person will only get 10,000. It is what it is, because what happens is when we're doing implementation, we will help them fill out an app and we'll get them offers immediately, typically within 24 hours of enrolling. You might say, well, that doesn't make sense. That's day 7. Well, we'll get them offers. So let's change that. Offers in day 1. We want to get them offers quickly. But just because they received offers quickly doesn't mean that they get the funding right away. That's what I'm saying. They probably won't fund for 7 days, and you wouldn't ask them to pay a performance fee for money until they received it. In this example, until they received 10,000. The last assumption or variable that we haven't talked about is the average business funding. In other words, how much are they going to get after, well, I should say here, how much are they going to get after we've completed the 4 phases? I think 250 is a much more accurate projection, but it's based on what the client needs and wants, right? I'm working with Eric and Veronica on a deal that is 5 million. Make that wider, don't I? 5 million. So that's a much bigger number. It'll vary by client what they need, because what we're going to do is build the fundability to match. I'm working with Felicia, who is not on here, unfortunately, and she's got a client in Finland that we're working on a deal, and it is 350,000. Too many zeros, right? Oh, one more. There we go. So it'll vary, but the point is, you are the CEO of your branch. I just feel that we need to get you thinking. You're running a business. Maybe you're running it formally or informally. That's up to you. You don't have to have some brick and mortar office. You don't have to wear a suit to work. It's not about that. But if your mindset is, I'm running a business, a branch office, and I understand that businesses need to be profitable, then you need to understand what are the triggers of your profitability. How much do you project to make per client? And based upon your projection of number of clients, what is your monthly gross income? Because again, yeah, you'll have expenses, right? You'll probably want to pay yourself. Maybe you'll get a company car. I don't know what you're going to spend money on, but yeah, every businesses have expenses, of course. It's very naive or almost immature to think, oh, like when Walmart sells a bottle of shampoo for, I don't know, $5. Oh, Walmart just made $5 profit. Of course not. There's a cost to every service, just about every service and good. All right, so does anyone have questions about this simple pro forma? which helps you maybe better understand how and when you get paid, how much you should be making per month, some of the key variables that drive your profitability. Do you understand what clients are getting, which really wasn't the focus of today's discussion? Do you know how to enroll a client? Because if you don't know how to enroll a client, this is going to be zero. You're going to make $0. How sad is it to run a business that makes $0? That's horrible. Zero is not acceptable. And when you enrolled, you promised to do at least 8. So let's keep at least 8 there. And then do you understand? I guess we can bold the headings just so they maybe make more sense. Do you understand how sales occurs? First, you have to have a lead. You need lots of leads. I was talking to one of you this morning, and you had like 2 or 3 leads. It's like, that's horrible. How can you imagine being a Domino's Pizza today and opening up, I don't know, here in an hour or two, getting ready to sell pepperoni pizzas and everything else you sell? Well, I've got maybe 3 people that'll buy a pizza today. Maybe. That's horrible. There's so much demand for capital. We can flood you with leads. We can get you 100 leads a day if that's what you need. But those leads only turn into money if you convert them. They need to understand what we do. Now, the great news is we created a new video that you could share with them called the 4-phase video. It's also centered here, featured on Chapman Loan Program, that will tell the story for you. But this is up to you, right? This is where the rubber hits the road. This is what you do more than anything else, because you can get leads with no effort. You don't need to put any effort into leads. So what you really do is number 2. Then those prospects become clients, and then it turns on the spigot of money. Oh, I remember what Greg was saying earlier. Greg was talking about he really likes passive income. I think Greg may be a realtor, I'm not sure, but passive income. So, if you bought a rental property and you leased it out, every month the rent check is coming in. Every month the rent check is coming in. Well, this is a little different, but once you have brought on a client, you're automatically getting paid here, and you're getting paid again here, and you're getting paid again here, and you're getting paid again here, and you're not putting work into it. You're not putting time into it. You're not putting effort into it. So you can simply focus on going out and educating the next client. So anyone that needs help, let us know. If you are a current branch CEO, we should be having weekly calls, scheduled calls. And if not, email us and we can help you get that. If you're someone that needs to get started, you're not plugged in yet, go to chapmanloanprogram.org under grant resources down at the bottom of the page. The very bottom link is called the Opportunity Fund, and you can enroll. So who else has questions on what we covered? Do you not understand the 4 revenue streams? If not, bring it up. Let's talk about it. If you don't appreciate the importance of passive income, let me know. If you, and this is what Mike just mentioned, if you need help getting set up to enroll clients, let us know. It's not that difficult. So what should have happened is each of you became a branch. We should have emailed you 2 setup emails. The first one is kind of introductory. The second one has a number of editable documents, an editable press release, an editable PowerPoint, editable client agreement. And so what would you do? You would take that editable client agreement and you would change it so it has your branch information, because this is like a private label or a white label model. You're going out to the market under your umbrella, not under us. So with that being said, you need to take that editable agreement, remove our information, put yours in, decide if you want a performance fee, and if so, decide how much. It could be 7. Again, the average is 19.99. It's up to you. And then get it into DocuSign or Adobe. And if you need help with that, we can get you plugged into people that can help you. Some of you may want to work with another branch until you feel comfortable and competent in working on your own. And so we've got a number of branches that would kind of treat you as like an intern. All right, so Pauline brings up an amazing point. and I hadn't really thought about it, but we'll close on that. Getting leads. So there's many different ways, and we've talked about that, but and we can, I guess we'll go over here for a moment and talk about leads. This is very important before we go. So certainly you can buy leads, and we've had a number of conversations about those. But what Pauline is referencing is referrals. So you could get referrals from lots of different people, from bookkeepers, from tax preparers, from accountants, from loan brokers, lots of different places. So let's not worry about where you'd get them. But if you got a referral partner, well, let's say it's a credit. Let's say you're getting referrals from a credit repair professional. So they repair credit, but they have people that would like to get business funding, but they don't have a fundable business. So going back to Pauline's point, she could frankly show them. I believe in transparency. So if you're to sit down with, let's say you're going to sit down with Jenny and say, hey, Jenny, you've got clients that would like to have business funding. I've got a program that can help them. Let's make it worth your while. If I were you, I would take this spreadsheet and I'd sit down with them and explain, okay, here's the numbers, Jenny, referral partner. How about I give you 10%? What if I gave you 10% of what you brought to the table as a referral fee? Would you do it? So then all of a sudden, now Jenny could take this and she could say, well, if I were a referral partner income, so move that over a little bit, and be transparent and make it worth their while. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's say that it's 10%. So we'll make the assumption of 0.1. Oh, 0.1. So then this is how much your referral partner would make. Make $50 there. Make another 2,000 there. Another 225 there. Lastly, another 699. So what would be the total amount that the referral partner would make? Yeah, I should have put sum in there, shouldn't I? Equals sum. Remember my formulas. There you go. So in this case, Jenny, the referral partner to Pauline, would make $9,000 every time that referral partner referred, projected on these assumptions. So what's my point? Now I'll get rid of this not to confuse everyone. But the point is, you've got to have leads, and you can buy leads, you can organically generate them, but you can get referral partners if you make it worth their while. The point that Pauline was making is she likes to share with people how she gets paid. She likes to be transparent and say, hey, I'll give you 10% of the money that comes in the door as it comes in the door. That could be very powerful. All right. Anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? Again, if you want an editable version of this, that's fine. Just email us. I guess I just deleted our email, but you can go to Chapman Loan Program, and our phone number is on there and our website's on there, and we can visit. If you're a current referral partner, we should be visiting at least once a week. If you're not a current branch, it's probably a great time to get started. But here, now you understand maybe better how much you get paid, when you get paid, the total amount that you would expect to make per client, what you would make per month. And that's, of course, greatly impacted by the assumptions that you control. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Again, if you need a copy of this, just email us and let us know. Have a good day. Bye-bye.